Good morning, campus. My name is Ms. McIntosh, and I am so excited about being here during this virtual training with virtual reading program with you guys. I'm looking forward to working with you. We're going to be working with grades 3 to 5 for the ELA during our ELA reading sessions. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get you all involved. I can't wait to meet you. Today we're going to talk about, I want to just go over the different weeks with you as to what we're going to be doing throughout our reading sessions as we're going through virtual learning. We're going to be working on IXL, and I know many of you are so familiar with working on IXL. The standards that we're going to take a look at are I 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Now, you'll learn a little bit later as to what those standards all are, okay? During our day is going to be set up as to where we're going to work on our lessons, watch some short videos on grammar and punctuation, and at the end of those videos, every day, you will have to take notes on the videos that you watch and submit it back to me throughout a Google document throughout your Google Classroom. Okay, so I'm so excited, grade 3 to 5. I can't wait to get started. Today's day, boys and girls, we're going to be working on RI 1.1. And this is all the standards for 1.1 is for grade 3, 4, and 5. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and look at this particular standard, RI 1.1. I can refer to details and examples in a text when explaining what the text says explicitly and when drawing on an inference from the text. Okay, so the objective is today, I can make inferences based on key details and examples in an informational text to help me better understand the author's ideas about the topic. Okay, let's see if we can have a better understanding of that objective. For example, let's look at key details. We want to know what key details represent. What is the meaning of key details? Key details is the important key details in a story. Those are the things that the author really wants you to pay attention to. And then we have another word there, explicitly. Well, what does that explicitly means here when we're trying to complete and understand this standard? Meaning clearly expressed or demonstrated. And then last but not least, let's take a look at the word inferencing. How many of you boys and girls know how to make an inference? Okay, I see that most of you're familiar with inferencing already, okay? So I'm gonna go over just to refresh in your memory because, I know it's probably been a while and since we've been out of school for a couple of months, we kind of probably forgot. So an inference equals what I already know about a subject plus text evidence, what the text is telling me about that subject, is going to equal my inference, which is going to be a sensible guess based on what you know about the subject and what the clues the text gives you about the subject. Bear in mind, when authors write stories, sometimes they give us clues. They don't always tell us exactly what they're talking about, but we have to guess. We have to guess from the clues that the authors put into the text and based on what we already know about the subject. For example, let's see if we can do this. Okay, let me give you a short story. And I want you to tell me if you can make an inference from this short story. Mary and Jane went fishing on a Sunday afternoon. The sky began to get dark. The wind began to blow. The seas began to get rough. What do you think was going on? What did the author tell us about Mary and Jane? Based on the seas getting rough, the sky getting dark, and the wind blowing, tell me, what do you think was ready to happen based on your prior knowledge about what you know when you pay attention to those events taking place. Did I see someone raise their hand? Yes? Okay. Did I hear somebody say that it was getting ready to storm or it was getting ready to have a bad thunderstorm? Well, you were right. That's called making an inference, because in that story that I just told you, the author never told us that it was getting ready to storm. However, he did mention to us that the sky was dark, the wind began to blow, and the seas were rough. So when I think about what I know about the wind, about it getting ready to storm, when we see those things happening, we automatically know that it's getting ready to rain or it's getting ready to be a major storm. So that equals your inference that it's getting ready to storm. You were able to solve that guess based on the clues that I gave you in the story and based on what you already knew about that type of events happening before bad weather appears. Okay, boys and girls, so that is your day 1 of learning. Remember your key details, the important details in a story. Remember explicitly, meaning something that's clearly expressed or demonstrated. And most of all, I want you to remember how to make an inference. An inference equals what you already know about a topic, what the text tells you, that's the clues that the text give you, and the inference, making your sensible guess about what's going to happen. Okay, so we're still on the standard here, 1.1, and this is still your day 1. So I wanted you to break that standard down for you, and as we go through these other little short standards here, compare and contrast, these still respond to the 4RI 1.1. Now, the RI means reading informational. How many of you know what informational is? Yes, you are so right. Informational means it's the same as somebody just said, nonfiction. Yes, an informational text provides us with facts. So for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we are going to work on all informational texts. And as we are working and reading on our informational text and understanding RI 1.1 standard, we know that we have to pay attention to the key details, understand clearly what the author is telling us, and we're going to have to also make some inferences. Okay, let's take a look at I can compare and contrast informational text. Now, when you guys get to go and work in your iExcel, you will see your assignments are just in this order. Informational text under the standard RI 1.1. So we know that when we compare equals something that's alike or the same. Okay? And when we contrast, it equals something that's different. So we have compare and contrast, something that's alike and something that's different. And some of our clue words are, in comparing, we look for words such as similar, both, in common, and resemble. Resemble means to look alike as well. When we look at the word contrast, some of our clue words are different, difference, however, and although. And those are just a few of our clue words. So let's take a look at the turtle and the rabbit. Okay, I'm going to read this story to you, and I want you to, as I'm reading, I want you to pay attention to the key details. We're going to compare and contrast the turtle and the rabbit. And as we're reading, I want you to also listen. And if there's anything that you need to infer using that skill or that strategy there, then you can do that as well. Okay, the turtle and the rabbit. The turtle and the rabbit were alike in that they were both animals. However, what made them different is that the turtle moved very slowly, while the rabbit could run quickly. Now we want to compare the turtle and the rabbit. Okay, so let's take a look here. So I want you boys and girls, I want you to think. Think about comparing them. What makes these two animals alike? Okay, and as you're thinking, I'm going to write down my comparing and my contrasting thoughts here. Okay, campers, let's take a look at that short story right there. So we know that when we compare, what are we looking for? Did I hear somebody say we look for the things that are the same? You are so right. We look for all the things that are the same with the two individuals, the two animals, the two things that we are comparing. So, what is the same with the turtle and the rabbit? Did I hear you say that they were both animals? Wow, yes, they're both animals. So I'm going to put that right here. That makes them alike. Okay, now let's look at the contrasting. When we contrast them, can somebody tell me the meaning of contrasting? Wow, yes, you're so right. I'm so happy to know that you know contrasting means when they are different, to show the difference. Okay, boys and girls, so let's look to see how they were different. I'm going back and I'm going to reread because remember, boys and girls, when we're looking at our text, rereading is a very, very important strategy. We should always go back into our text and reread until we get a very good understanding as to what the author is saying to us. Okay, so let's go back and reread this. The turtle and the rabbit were alike in that they were both animals. However, what made them different is that the turtle moved very slowly while the rabbit could run quickly. Okay, so now that I read that again, I got a better understanding of this. So I want you to stop and think right now, boys and girls. Maybe even talk to your partner if you have one beside you. And if you don't have a partner, maybe even talk to somebody, some adult you have at home. And if you don't have that, then you can write it and jot it down in your journal. Okay? I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, so did I see a thumbs up? Okay, so what was your answer? How were they different? Okay, so you said they were different because the turtle moved slowly, and I'm underlining that, and the rabbit could run quickly. Wow, you guys are so amazing. So that is what made them so different. So I'm going to write that down under my contrasting. And you should too, write it down in your journal as well. So move slowly was the turtle, and the rabbit ran quickly. So there you go, boys and girls. And if you have your reading journal, go ahead and jot that down in your reading journal so that you can refer back to that as we keep moving on throughout our virtual learning throughout the summer. Okay, so that's comparing and contrasting. Jot those down. Comparing equals alike, contrasting equals different.